Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of 365 Days of Gaming. Really appreciate you taking our time to check out this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciated, so thank you in advance. Now, of course, I was going to do another RPG because PlayStation, even more so than the Super Nintendo, had so many RPGs. Like, I don't think you'll understand like how, and especially for me this is where if a game said RPG on it, I had to play it on the PlayStation. Like there was nothing that I wanted more than more RPGs. This is where I really started feeling it. This is where I got the itch. And I used to see this game at Blockbuster and it was always out, and that kind of throws up the exclamation point like Better Good Solid, the little threat. And I kept noticing like, man, it's never here. And I look at the case because you used to be able to look at the case back in the day at Blockbuster. And I'm reading over it and I'm like, oh yeah, an RPG, got to do it. And it was Star Ocean, the second story. So for those of you who do not know, Star Ocean is a series that was made by Enix before they combined with Square Enix. And it was RPG series that always dealt with like space travel, right? And for the PlayStation, this was the first one that we got, but this was actually the second game. And I remember seeing it, and it's called Star Ocean, the second story, or the second evolution on the PSP. And I was just like, didn't think much of it, even though the game is clearly telling me there's another game. But, I didn't learn that too much later. My friend Marquise put me on, as always, about the fact that there were multiple games in the series. Then obviously, you get the ones that come out later on the other consoles. It's one of my favorite RPG series. But let's stick to the one I played first. Now, in this game, you have the option of playing as either Raina or Claude. But it doesn't matter because they're going to be in your party. But it does change how certain interactions happen, what perspectives you see when things go on. And it was really cool if you play it and then go back and start with the other character and see the different options. Obviously, you're going to get a bunch of other characters in the game, and you're going to have these parties and different people and different interactions. And there are different choices that you make that determine certain things in this game. Very similar, but a little bit more than like my other experience would have been at that time, Chrono Trigger. So this was like taking it up a little bit more. There's also this super deep crafting system, which you don't see in this video, but still just letting you know why Star Ocean is such a great series and why this game was so good. Now, you start off, Claude as a part of a like space force, like the space police. They're trying to keep everything, on the up and up, and they're finding out that, something's going on this planet, and they're trying to figure out what they can do to help. And they're the good guys. That's what they do. They come and help people. They don't want to mess up, developing planets. And there's all these little rules and stuff, and it's great. But of course, young Claude is a bit ambitious, and he's a go-getter. He likes to get after it, and also he's trying to impress his dad. So he makes some questionable choices that end up kind of biting him in the backside. But it also sparks him on this journey where people think he's the savior, and shenanigans ensue, but it's RPG style, so it's always good shenanigans. But it's just, this game, the battle system is more free. I just remember the first time I played it, realizing that, you can move around during the fights and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is before I even played any of the Tales games. So this was the first RPG I played that actually lets you walk around during the battle. So I thought that was just incredible. And it, made me an instant fan. This game can be very hard. This game can be very unforgiving. For example, you use different items to craft, and the game will let you use those items even if you haven't actually made them into something that's usable. For example, there's an item called Mandrake Root. Now, it tells you that it is poisonous when ingested, but you can still try to use it mid-fight. And some of these items will actually, heal you to a certain degree. Maybe not as much as they could if you mixed them with the right items, but they would heal you to some degree. And if you take the Mandrake Root, which I didn't get far enough to show you, but I just want to explain to you that your character will turn green and fall over, essentially, dying from your decision. And that type of freedom in a game, we're talking about 98, 99, was not really something that we saw, especially on console, maybe on the PC games, because they always had a little more freedom. But for me, this was like, oh, okay, they're really just letting you have at it. And there's a great story, a lot of interesting characters. Like there's a character who has twin dragons that talk to him on his back. And you start to see him kind of like this inner dialogue that he's dealing with. But it's a really, really, really great game. And, so much so that they remade it for the PSP. And, it's one of those, if you played it, you get it. If you haven't played it, you're probably like, yeah, it's probably all right. And it might be, but for those in my circle, we really enjoy this game. And it was one of those games that, it takes a while to beat, which is always a great thing. It had 2 discs. And again, during the PlayStation era, that was the sign of, potentially a good game. It's got multiple discs, which means it has a lot of content, a lot of jelly in those donuts. So one of those games that you can spend as much time as you want to on it, or you can go straight through the story. Just, you might miss some people and stuff like that, but you'll get the gist of the story. So if you're an RPG fan, I definitely recommend playing it. And if you are not, go watch the story, I guess. I don't know. But I do appreciate you taking our time to reminisce with me. As always, y'all have fun. Y'all be safe. Peace.